Today's video is gonna be weird. We're gonna draw an optical illusion, but I won't show you how it looks like until the end. I hope it catches you by surprise. We'll use JavaScript and HTML canvas and learn to work with multiple canvases, rotations, and draw patterns in different ways. Now let the mystery begin. Get it? Because then, no. Gonna code, debug, and have fun. Coding with Radu, coding with Radu. Gonna prototype and design. Coding with Radu, coding with Radu. Let's code now. I'm using Visual Studio Code, open in an empty folder. And here, let's create the first index HTML file where we type basic HTML, starting with the doc type, and then the HTML opening and closing tags, the head section, the title, let's just say offer, and the body, let's leave it empty for now until we can test. So let's open this in a browser. I'm using Google Chrome, and you can see the title appearing here in the browser tab. Now we're going to draw something on a canvas, and I'm going to add it here in the body like so. And if you save and refresh, you don't see it there unless you open the developer tools and then checking the elements. It has been added to the page in this top left corner. It's just transparent. I'm gonna give it a quick style here so we can see it. Like so. And let's make it bigger. I'm going to align this a little better and add here 800 pixels in width and in height, so it covers more of the screen. And now we're gonna draw on this canvas using the canvas drawing methods. But for that, we need to refer to it somehow. So I'm giving it this ID of my canvas. And now I can start the script and close it. And inside it, we can type JavaScript. First, we get the reference to the 2D drawing context of the canvas. And now I usually like to get a reference to these width and height attributes of the canvas. So this 800, 800 essentially become width and height. And we can test to see if it works by filling a rectangle from 0, 0 with this width and height. And it should make the whole canvas black. Now let's draw equally spaced horizontal lines, white lines, over the canvas. I'm going to go here for Y at 0 all the way to the height. Let's increase by 5 and then begin path, move to 0 Y, so on the left side, and then line to width Y to the right. Let's set the stroke style to white and stroke. Now save, refresh, and this is what we get. Now this 5 here, I don't really like it. It should be a kind of parameter up here for the spacing. And let's replace this one like so. I'm going to set the line width of all of these lines to be a random number between 0 and this spacing. So for that, we can set the line width, math random multiplied by spacing. Save, refresh, and we get this kind of zebra-like pattern. Now imagine having some kind of circular cookie cutter and cutting some pattern from this canvas. We're going to do that 4 times. And we will use 4 different canvases, smaller canvases, for each of those patterns. They will be temporary objects that we use to get what we want. We don't need to show them on the screen, but we will for debugging purposes. You'll see. So let's go here and decide on a size for these circles. maybe 100 pixels. And now the small canvases I was talking about, I'm going to generate them inside of an array by calling document create element a canvas element. And now let's copy this 3 more times so we have 4 of them. And I'm going to loop through all of these small canvases using a for each. And for each one, let's call it C. I'm going to add it to the document body, like so. Now if you save and refresh, you'll notice this scroll bar appeared here, and that's because these other canvases are somehow going below it, there. Let's make them visible. I will do the same thing as before and set the border to 1 pixel solid. So now they are there. But they should be the same size as this circle size we were talking about. So let's set the width to the circle size and the height to the circle size as well. Like that. So 2 of them fit here and the other 2 there. Again, it doesn't matter. They can go anywhere. They are just temporary here. Now I'm going to take a reference to this first one and try to draw a circle in it. So let's say that this C1 is the small canvases of 0, the first element. And CTX1 is going to be the context, the 2D context of that one. Now we begin path and draw a circle in the center screen. But for that, we would like to have a radius. And if we want the circle to cover the whole screen, we just set it to half the circle size, like so. And then we can arc it, radius, radius, radius. So this one stands for X. We want it 1 radius away from the left side of the canvas and 1 radius away from the top side. And this will be the radius of the circle. The arc method has 2 more parameters, 0 and 2 pi. This is for the starting angle, and the end angle 2 pi means 360 degrees, but in radians. And fill. Now if we save and refresh, we can see a circle is indeed appearing there. What we want to do is draw this whole image into that canvas there, but only overlapping with the circle area. Let's start by just drawing the image there after we draw the circle. So it's going to cover it, but you'll see. So I'm drawing on this, my canvas starting at 0, 0, the top left corner. And when I refresh, you can see that the whole image here doesn't fit there. This is the top left corner from there, and that's good. We could sample this image vertically from anywhere we want if we modify this value here. Like if we want to draw that image, but moving it up somehow, so a minus value here, maybe minus 200, save, refresh, then this pattern that you see here seems to be from around here somewhere. And it doesn't matter where we are sampling like this. We can start at the beginning. It will still cover the whole thing there. But to use that circle as a kind of cookie cutter, we can go here and replace this fill with a clip. Now, this is going to make the drawing area of the canvas be the arc that we defined previously. So save, refresh, and now it's what we want. But each of these should have a pattern like this. And for that, we have to take the code that we generated here and just move it inside of this for each loop, where we use the same seed that we are using to loop through the canvases. So we don't need a C1 here really. We can remove this, and this is just C. And now the code should work as before, but duplicated on each one of those canvases. You can also rename this CTX1 with just CTX because the one inside of this for each will be different than the one that we have here on the top scope. Having one at the end of variable names is not really fantastic. And everything still works. But this is now some place here in the middle where the 200 pixels offset is. What I really want to have here is different patterns, evenly spaced patterns vertically like that. So imagine maybe a grid dividing this, and I will aim at getting the center of each of those cells as the 4 different patterns. Let's start with the top left corner of each of those cells to begin with. And what we need for that is a cell size. Now, this is going to depend on how many of those patterns we need, in this case 4, but in general, the number of small canvases. So we can use that here like so. Cell size is the height divided by small canvases length. Okay, and now we need the index here as well. So next to C, we can also get access to the index and use it somewhere here to define the Y value. Index times the cell size. Actually, this is the minus Y value, so we still need the minus there because this is doing this shifting upwards. And now if you save and refresh, you see the patterns are different. So this one is from the very top. I kind of recognize this white line here surrounded by black regions. And now all of them are the top left corners of those cells. To translate them to be the patterns from the center of the cells, we start by moving them by half the cell size. So we update here this Y to be cell size divided by 2 plus this value. And now it looks like so. But we still have to subtract by the circle radius. So minus radius. And this is exactly what we want. Now we're going to draw these patterns on top of this image so that it forms a grid. Basically, the first pattern here, we're going to draw it in the top row cells, this in the second row cells, and so on. It won't look very different when we draw these on top of the same patterns, really. But you'll see, we'll do something more. Let's do the first for loop, maybe for the X, starting at half the cell size, going to the width and increasing by the cell size at each step. And similarly for the Y, to the height, increasing by the cell size. And now we need to know which of the 4 canvases to take. And the index is going to be Y divided by the cell size. I'm using floor here because I need an integer part. And now I know which image to draw. So I'm going to draw the image of the small canvases of this index. And I have to also subtract by half of this circle size or by the radius. But I don't have the radius variable here, so I'm just going to write it like so. Save, refresh, and hopefully it works. I don't know. How do we know if it works? We could try some different global composite operation here. Like maybe we can go here and say to multiply. In that case, the black is 0, so basically it becomes transparent. And well, it's not a very big difference, but kinda you can see it here. It's happening, I think, because of anti-aliasing. Like the lines have a little bit extra pixels now on the contour, maybe. We're almost done. What we want to do is generate these patterns rotated by 90 degrees. And I'm going to take each of these canvases and rotate them by minus 90 degrees. That will be the first step. Now, doing this alone is going to not work at all as we expect, because this whole image, like if this is the top left corner, is going to rotate by 90 degrees like that, then what's left here is nothing, and that's why we see nothingness there. But here we can also translate. So we can translate by minus the circle size on X after we do this rotation, and that's going to bring the things down a bit. Save, refresh, and there it is. You can kind of see here, this thick line here is coming from this thick line here, and this thick line here is coming from this one here, and so on. So it is what we want, but we don't want them to be transparent. We are removing now this multiply. It's not really needed anymore. And I already see some strange thing appearing here. I don't see the circles anymore. I see some kind of rectangles appearing here instead. Does it work for you or not? And I think that the effect is even stronger if you make the circle size larger, like maybe 140. Yeah. What do you guys think? Does it look, do you still see the circles? How about if you change the scale of the screen? Sometimes it works like a refresh. Because if you're too used to seeing the circles now after we added them there, then yeah. But I definitely see like some kind of squarish shapes appearing here instead, even though we're not drawing them. And even though they don't align perfectly, like here, there is this black line here, it doesn't align there as I would maybe expect. The white aligns here nicely, I think, but not all of them do, and the illusion is still somehow tricking me to see these kind of patterns appearing there. Yeah, and we don't need those stamps anymore there. They can be just in memory, so I'm not going to attach them to the document body. Let's save. Yeah, crazy. Oh wow, if you squint your eyes, it's even more powerful. Those circles really disappear. And I think that what happens if I give a blur to this? Let's see. Let's try blur of... Yeah, it amplifies it, I think, as well. So somehow blurring it is like squinting your eyes. I think why it happens even more with the blur is because it's because those imperfections kind of give it away, like in the that I showed previously. But now with the blur, they aren't so apparent anymore. Oh, so actually, the more you blur, the more the focus seems to be on those rectangles instead. Yeah, now I can see the circle contours, but now I don't see them anymore. Weird. Anyway, let me know how you see this and if you liked this kind of mysterious approach to coding. Thanks for watching and see you guys.